possible lifeline for the Nigerian economy as African Development Bank delegation visits the presidency. Vice President Yemi Osinbajo receives Indian counterpart. And on our studio discussion, improving Nigeria's procurement procedure in focus. Thanks for joining us. I am Ogwa Onyedibia. President Muhammadu Buhari has expressed confidence in the ability of Nigeria to bounce back after surmounting her economic challenge, given the abundant human and material resources bestowed on the country by God. He was speaking at an audience with the president of the African Development Bank, Dr. Akinwumi Adesina. State House correspondent Adamu Sambo reports.
President Muhammadu Buhari told the African Development Bank chief that with the resolute commitment of his administration towards addressing Nigeria's fundamental problems of economy, corruption and security, the abundant resource potentials of the country will be fully harnessed for genuine growth and development. As the president puts it, it will take hard work on our part, but we will make it. He said everything is being done towards achieving food sufficiency and security, while those who help themselves with the nation's wealth will be made to refund. President Buhari, who expressed Nigeria's appreciation for the helping hands being lent by the African Development Bank, assured its president, Nigerian-born Akinwumi Adesina, that the country will not disappoint him. The African Development Bank, Dr. Adesina said, is in full support of Nigeria's recent economic decisions, describing them as bold, tough, and comfortable, but right, saying the country will surely reap the dividends in the short and long run. Nigeria, he said, is too big to fail and should therefore count on the support of the bank. Consequently, Dr. Adesina unfolded various packages it has for Nigeria. These include a budget support of $1 billion, $300 million for job creation, $250 million for Northeast infrastructure development, $1 million grant to deal with the challenges of IDPs, $300 million for infrastructure development around the FCT, and $200 million for power supply. The African Development Bank president expressed delight with President Muhammadu Buhari's push on anti-corruption, as well as his stance on good governance. To this end, he said an institutional support grant of $4.8 million will be given to the EFCC and ICPC as part of the bank's contributions to the fight against corruption and other related offenses in Nigeria. President Muhammadu Buhari also received in audience the president of the ECOWAS Bank for Investment and Development, where he promised that despite Nigeria's economic predicament, it will fulfill its obligations to the institution. This, he said, is to help the bank in carrying out its mandate of, among others, helping the less financially endowed West African countries. The president of the bank, Bashir Mamma, said the 30-year-old institution, as the financing arm of ECOWAS, has in furtherance of its mandate towards assisting less developed West African countries establish an airline after the national carriers of most member countries collapsed. From the State House, Adamu Sambo, NTA News.
The federal government has got a pat on the back for its diversification programs, with advice for it to further widen the scope of the program. Vice President Yemi Osinbajo also received President of the African Development Bank, Akinwumi Adesina, with talks on diversification program. State House correspondent Jide Onifade reports.
Present at the meeting include the members of the economic management team. The African Development Bank's president, Akinwumi Adesina, says Nigeria, being the highest shareholder in the bank, needs to know the opportunities available in the bank that can assist in meeting some of our economic challenges. Dr. Adesina observes that the fall in crude oil price is a big challenge, as 98% of the nation's revenue comes from the oil and gas sector. He says the bank is ready to offer support to Nigeria.
We are looking to consider for our board, $1 billion to help them to deal with that particular deficit that is there. In addition to that, there are other challenges that the economy has, which is in terms of diversifying and deepening the level of diversification in critical sectors. So agriculture, solid minerals are very important. Manufacturing is important, as well as industrial sector. And so the bank will provide, in total, between 2016 and 2017, a total of $4.1 billion to Nigeria in various areas, from power to infrastructure to agriculture and the private sector for SME finance lending.
The ADB chief executive says he expects ADB's portfolio in the country to increase to about $10 billion by 2019. Kemi Adeosun is the Minister of Finance.
We're looking to them for the $1 billion budget support. But beyond that, there are a number of loans and initiatives around agriculture, around job creation for the youth, around solid minerals, around women's empowerment and women's access to finance and finance for small and medium-sized businesses. So all the things really that this government and this economic management team are trying to deliver on, we see the ADB as a great partner and a great supporter.
Although the former Nigerian's Minister of Agriculture and Rural Development has been visiting the country, this is his first official visit since he assumed office as the president of the African Development Bank. In the State House, Jide Onifade, NTA News.
Vice President of India, Mr. Hamid Ansari, has arrived Nigeria for a 3-day official visit. He was received on arrival by Vice President Yemi Osibajo and his wife. While in Nigeria, the two leaders will hold bilateral talks covering relations between both countries. The visitor will also be granted audience by President Muhammadu Buhari and will also deliver a lecture at the National Defense College in Abuja before visiting Lagos State, where he will also deliver a lecture at the University of Lagos. Hamid Ansari is being accompanied by his spouse and a high-level business delegation. Well, as a critical feature in governance and its impact on the citizenry, the annual budget brings together the executive and legislative arms of government. In view of this, the maiden colloquium on the democratic project has held with focus on how to reform the budgetary process, making it a veritable tool for an efficient relationship. National Assembly correspondent Dennis Adegunloye reports.
With the recent controversy surrounding the budget, this colloquium, convened by the orderpaper.ng, is described as timely and a golden opportunity to iron out issues concerning the public purse. There were submissions by the Deputy Senate President, the Speaker, House of Representatives, the former Speaker and now the Governor of Sokoto State, and others.
As soon as the appropriation committee get hold of the budget, they immediately hold public hearings for business leaders, NGOs, public servants, representatives of blue-collar workers, farmers, and the general public. This will eventually lead to a document that at least has inputs from a cross-section of the Nigerian society.
If there's any bill that requires public hearing, it is an appropriation bill. But because it does not come on time, we find it extremely difficult to subject it to public hearing.
Budget reform process will involve, and I specified them, a review of the legal framework to ensure that the annual budget is submitted on time. There must be a robust pre-budget interface between the executive and legislature to reduce areas of friction during the appropriation process.
We will reform the budget process when the budget is completely passed on the floor of the legislature, and it is reflected on the votes and proceedings and certified along to the President or the Governor for assent.
A position by the Minister of Budget and National Planning, Udoma Udoma, was read by the Director, Economic Growth at the Ministry.
After the Constitution, the next most important legal document in democracy is the Annual Appropriation Act.
On the subject matter, panelists identified challenges and solutions to the budget process.
The National Assembly needs a budget office staffed with highly skilled economists, financial experts, at par with the people, the sort of people they have on the executive.
It is expected that a communique will be put in place for greater synergy between the two arms of government for a smoother budgetary process. In Abuja, Dennis Adegunloye, NTA News.
Well, still staying on the economy, Panorama is taking a look at how Nigeria's public procurement procedure can be improved upon. And to discuss the issue is the head of Regulation and Database Department, Bureau of Public Procurement, Mr. Aliu. We're glad to have you with us here, sir.
Good afternoon.
Welcome.
Good afternoon, Nigerians.
We're going straight into discussions. What is your response to the impression, being created by government officials that, procurement process is slowing budget implementation?
Being a procurement man, definitely I will not agree with the opinion of the generality of the public. At the same time, we have concern that our executives are here to perform, and as far as they are concerned, if they want to perform, the performance should come easy for them. However, that is why we have the rules, so that the rules will be followed. As it were, it's just an understanding of what the rules are. When we have, as soon as budgets are passed, we are supposed to start the processes. So some people have advocated that, it takes 12 weeks to do adverts in order to, but that is not really the truth. The truth is that it's 6 weeks what the Act has provided, as stipulated, that adverts should take. That is, give people opportunity to prepare proper bids. And if you take out that, it means that even on performance end, we will not be able to succeed. The issue is that in this part of the world, we think just starting something and be seen to be doing some work is what gives you result. It's not so. The planning, the people at the back office that do a lot of work also gives you a lot of result. In fact, that is where it is, because we are human beings. Human beings, we have the propensity of always thinking through something first. But if you remove that thinking through, it then will bring us nothing at the end of the day. So as much as I can understand with our executives that we need to accelerate, we also have to be cautious, because the system we have in Nigeria is a universal system. It's an ancestral law, and we are part of the countries of the world that have subscribed to this. We cannot just throw it away. This is the way it is done everywhere.
But speaking of the changes, sir, has there been a change in the institutionalized process, to combat these issues affecting the public procurement process in Nigeria?
Yeah, the process, as it's a public document, and you can go to our website www.bpp.gov.ng. There you see what they are. Now, if we are concerned, we have other methods of procurement. We have the emergency procurement system, we have the short list, we have the direct procurement. So whatever the situation warrants, you can always go back to the same document to which the country has subscribed and be able to address situations that arise. That is why it's a standard document. The people that have drafted it over the years have taken into cognizance various situations that could arise that could still assist you to implement your projects. So it's not that, the 6 weeks is sacrosanct. We have other methods. It's for the experts in the ministries to be consulted so that they are shown these other methods. And the Bureau is not unmindful that other methods exist. And I'm telling you, if people want to be sincere with themselves, they will tell you they've come to the Bureau and have taken the other short methods. It doesn't require repealing the Act. Okay. The Act has taken into account most of these situations, and it just takes people to know where they are and apply them appropriately.
Well, how has the Bureau been able to manage its functions, in terms of accountability, transparency, and value for money, among the other essentials of a good practice?
Yes, value for money is one of our major concerns, and that is why we review projects that are started by ministries, departments, and agencies of federal government. And to date, between 2009 and 2015, ending accounts of 2015, we had saved a total of 731 billion naira. Okay. That is the funds that the MDS will have otherwise incorporated in contracts in our review. So that is very, very important to us. Value for money is very, very important to us. and that is why we exist.
All right, so I would like to ask, how do you want government agencies now to further key into the laid down, procurement process?
Yeah, as it's where we have procurement officers in MDS, and the BPP has always been training them continuously. I came back, I've not even sat on my seat for a long time. I was in Ondo State. I was surprised in Adeyemi College, and I was surprised to find that they are even going ahead with their own way of doing e-procurement, which we launched between 29th and 31st of last month. So you can see a lot of Nigerians doing certain things that are also bringing changes to the people. You can imagine going all the way to Ondo and finding what we are celebrating nationally. Somebody is sitting there and doing it. As far as we are concerned, we need to start implementing budget on time. We don't have to say public procurement can be carried out up to the point of finishing without commitment, without having any adverse effect on the MDA. So the MDA, based on budget proposal, can start procurement process. You don't wait until, we have money today and want to get the thing done. If you want a child to go to school in 2 years' time, you start working on it today. The child will not, you cannot say just by this, you want a child. And that is how the process is. The process is like getting pregnant for 9 months and giving birth, the child learning to walk, then the child can now go to nursery school.
Interesting analysis there. Now, speaking of the e-payment, in what other ways can this e-payment, improve the procurement system in Nigeria?
We are actually not involved with e-payment. We are involved with e-procurement. The e-payment thing is another thing. E-procurement, the way it will have is the way life has generally improved with e. Everything e. You buy your ticket from your house, print your boarding pass, and you just walk to the airport and you board. In fact, if in some countries you will not talk to anybody up to when you enter the plane. You just buy your ticket, you go there. Even on your phone, you just scan it. So this is the kind of thing we are bringing to procurement. What it means is that people will not complain anymore that, I could not catch a plane from Lagos to Abuja, therefore I missed my flight, I could not submit bids. So people are not disenfranchised. Everybody can sit in his room and submit bids. And therefore, there is less human contact. All these influences that we peddle in the country will be reduced. That way, we are going to get much, much more value for money, because the essence of the act and the law itself is to bring in participants. Everybody that is eligible and qualified can participate.
All right.
So this participation will be widened with e-procurement when the platform is launched.
Thank you very much, sir, for your audience. Well, we have been discussing with the head of Regulation and Database Department of the Bureau of Public Procurement, Mr. Aliu, who has been speaking on the public procurement process in Nigeria. Thank you very much, sir, for this.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
You can watch this news live online via the NTA mobile app, which you can download on your Android device at the Google Play Store or at the Apple Store if you use devices with iOS. Do stay tuned. Panorama continues shortly.
And compatriots sacrificed their comfort and even shed their blood. We cannot at this point in history afford to spirit away their sacrifices for immediate but temporary gains of today. Let us emphasize what unites and not what divides us. Working for the unity of purpose with a stronger vision for a better tomorrow. NTA, growing with the nation.
Together, no matter where you come from, no matter your religion, we are one. Let's live together. Let's stop fighting each other. Let us live as one. It doesn't matter where you come from, your tribe or religion, man, woman or child. It doesn't matter who you are. Put Nigeria first. No matter where you come from, no matter your religion, we are one. Let's let's live together.
How can we develop when we're always in crisis? Families have become refugees in their country. No matter our differences, show some understanding.
No matter where you come from, no matter your religion, we are one, let's live together.
Nigeria, the only country we can train with remarkable potentials to excel. Let us believe in ourselves and change our attitude for the sake of our country and generations unborn. Let us revive our cultural values, which are our essence as a nation. Let us renew the spirit of patriotism and hope in our dear country. Do not take or give bribe. Be punctual always. No more African time. We can't expect to be global citizens and operate on African time. Join the queue. Insist that people are attended to on a first-come basis, no matter who they are or where they come from.
Nigeria, good people, great nation.
Thank you for staying tuned. Nigeria will bring into reality the achievement of universal primary education by 2030. Minister of Education Malam Adamu stated this at the Stakeholders Forum on the implementation of 2030 Education Agenda and the inauguration of Global Education Monitoring Report 2016. Abdullahi Musa Suleja has details.
Global Education Monitoring Report 2016 titled Education for People and Planet, Creating Sustainable Future for All, is born out of the adoption of the Sustainable Development Goals (SDGs). Malam Adam enjoined all partners to ensure that agreements reached at the forum as next steps are effectively and efficiently implemented.
We are not unaware of the challenges that will be encountered, but with the cooperation of all stakeholders, the ministry and the country is equal to the task.
Compiled by UNESCO. This goal is in tandem with the Federal Ministry of Education's strategic plan captioned Education for Change, a ministerial strategic plan 2016 to 2019.
What the Global Education Monitoring Report 2016 tries to do is to look at each of the targets and the respective indicators, and where possible to try to determine baselines for monitoring that we are initiating from now until 2030.
Towards 2030, a new vision for education is to transform lives through education, with a commitment to a holistic, ambitious and aspirational one that ensures inclusive and equitable quality education and promote lifelong learning opportunities for all. In Abuja, Abdullahi Musa Suleja, NTA News.
The National Human Rights Commission has taken steps towards addressing alleged violation of human rights of a construction company by the Nigerian Navy. Executive Secretary of the Commission, Professor Bem Angwe, received a delegation from the Nigerian Navy on the matter. Justin Bem Ui has details.
On the 19th of September, the company filed a petition at the Commission alleging that armed naval personnel early in the year at various capacities abused the inalienable rights of its management and staff on the project site and also threatened further violations. The Chief of Naval Staff, Vice Admiral Ibok Ete Ibas, represented by the Managing Director of Naval Building and Construction Company, Commodore Abdul Adamu, appeared before the Commission following a summon for fact-finding.
On our part, we are going to respond appropriately, but for clarity, most of the allegations are not correct. But we are before the Commission, we are going to respond to those human rights allegations as he has labeled.
The Commission maintained investigations on the matter will be prompt and impartial.
Nigerians will know the outcome of our investigation. In accordance with our rules of procedure, as you have come here, we will give you an opportunity to state your side and we'll take your statements on note.
Justin Bemunyi, NTA News.
And for a bit of sports, competitions intensify at the second National Youth Games in Ilorin